Got my Honda Rebel 250 and taken it out for a ride a couple times, and it has sounded not quite right, and I wasn't quite sure what's going on. I think it might be running too rich, so trying to figure out the problem. And there was one thing I noticed, and it was on a hunch I tried this, and this is kind of interesting. So I'm going to fire it up. And now I'm going to pull this plug wire. And engine still runs, good, but there was no change in the sound of the engine, so that's concerning. And now I pull this one, bike stops. That means it is only running on one cylinder. Let's check to see if this plug is producing spark. It's a brand new plug. So let's just take a quick check here. Plenty of spark. So it's getting spark, and I believe it's getting fuel. Actually, I don't know if it's getting fuel, so I think the next thing we need to do is take a look at the carb setup. This bike has dual carbs. Previous owner must have put it on, since this bike only ever came with a single carb setup. And so I'm going to start poking around in here and see if we have a fuel delivery problem. So I think we're going to take the carb out. Not quite sure what else we can check. I don't think I need to remove the tank to get to the carb. So let's just see if we can get this out easily. And I've got the fuel off. To remove the carb, it looks like I'm going to need to remove the air boots on both sides and the fuel line, of course. And on the other side of the carb, there are the throttle cables. So let's start with this side first and move over to the other side. Carburetors removed. Now let's take it apart and look inside. I started disassembly by removing excess fuel, and then the bowl and diaphragm cover on the side of the carb that wasn't working. Interesting. Got some different size screws here. 3 different sizes. Yeah, nobody's been in here before. I continued removing parts, checking for grit, wiping things clean, and eventually removing the diaphragm and the other brass fittings and jets from the bad side of the carb. Still don't like the way these 2 throttle plates are sitting. One looks more closed than the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to gently loosen these 4 screws, and when I do, the plate will be allowed to move. And it's this one that I really want to move, so I'm going to start with this one. Alright, so in order to make the throttle plate fully close, I had to loosen, counterclockwise, the idle adjuster, which makes sense because it's not going to let as much air go through. So now I did that, these plates are sitting quite close together, and I think if I make sure that every time I move this throttle, both move at exactly the same time and open the same amount, and almost there. Alright, so now that looks good. So now I'm going to tighten down these throttle plates. Okay, I think that's good. So I really don't want to mess with the right side carb because that one's working well. That right cylinder was working. I really just wanted to see inside of everything here to make sure there was nothing wrong. The only thing I really noticed was some grit. A little bit here and there, not much. I don't think much to be effective, to affect anything. And I could be wrong. And the only other thing was that these 2 throttle plates were maybe not quite perfectly aligned. I think they're better now. So let's put some of this stuff back together. What's that? I'm seeing a difference. I don't know if you can make this out. Underneath the plunger, there is a, you see this metal piece? I don't have that on this side. Why not? All Alright, bowl's coming back off. Let's take off this bowl too, because that's where the that part might be. Why are they different? With the bike, I got a Ziploc of stuff from the single carb that it had previously. Move this aside. Let me see if... Hey, this has it too, that piece of metal on the bottom. So what the heck is that? It's like, you can see it in there. I want that. Give me. Okay, now what? That probably seats directly into it. Okay, so now, how would I get that out? My poker. Put a little mark on it. So my theory is if I can twist it with these pliers, then I know it's movable, which is good. Oh, it does. It twists. Oh! I just pushed it in. Alright, come on out. Okay. Hey, you guy. Nice to meet you. Oh shit, which way was it? But I think this is missing from here. Our bad side of the carb. So let's figure out how. I removed that. Okay, I am going to remove both. Let me think. Okay. I want to keep my parts organized. So this and this is part of the old carb. So I'm going to get this sucker out of here. It's back in the Ziploc. Okay, we're going to put left side, right side. Okay, we got this. My missing part right here. This came from the right side, my right side. I'm going to leave the float on. But I'm now going to also remove the bolt on the left side. Okay, left side bolt, right side bolt. Remove this, because this center can put all the missing brackets in. Left side, right side. And then I'm going to now remove the top of the diaphragms. You might want to get this side also includes the guide to the throttle cable. Right side, right side. So much left to the right. Okay, this off. Clean the inside spring diaphragm. It's clean. Now to that side, I'm going to push the body side. There we go. It looks like it has one of the fix. Oh, that's loose. That's fine. I need to be loose. I push it back in. Alright, cool. That goes in. I see. It's not anything. See. Okay. See, another. So we're going to do the same on this side. Now that I'm going to go, so the hollow side up. Actually, let me just make sure the exact same part. Right side. You know, here's the number one. Hollow side part now. You look pretty similar. Oh, we have one more. Can you the other side? The other side, so. Okay. I'm just going to put the right back on because I have a few parts to deal with. Okay, that's out. Okay. Now to get this in, I actually don't need to get it back on. I think I can just pop this in over. Then you slide it in. Just slide it in. You reassemble the side drain tubes and so that made me a little bit happy, knowing that there was a difference between the two. And also that we adjusted the throttle plates to make them perhaps a little bit more in sync. I don't know if that really had any effect on anything, but that's okay. The choke we're going to leave alone. That seems fine. Yeah, I think we're at the point where we can pop this back in. See if we can get these throttle cables back on, plus the clutch cable. All right, the cable switch. I think, yeah, this is the, okay, so this. What the? Oh no. Mother fuck. So the reverse throttle cable came out. It came out of this end, one of these ends. I don't know how, but the end looks kind of like this. It's frayed. So what happened? This end was in the throttle assembly. So I don't know what that means. But at the same time, the throttle works, and the spring causes it to go back. So now that I've got the carb connected, I have everything connected back up. Clutch cable. I have the fuel line connected. Choke cable is not yet connected, but it's also yet one of those other projects because the end is a little bit messed up, but I can just kind of fit the end in there. I haven't really needed the clutch to start. I put the fuel on, so will she start? Right, I just connected the ground. Let's put that back in. Running on the other cylinder. Yes. Fix it. If I can fix it, so can you.